This video was brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get top quality razors delivered to your door starting at just $1 a month. Link below in the description. Skip it up and that up. So there was a webisode on GameSpot of The Point. It was an excellent episode. It was done by Danny O'Dwyer. He did an amazing job. And he basically talked about Destiny, the reviews, and how the negativity surrounding Destiny could be that the reviewers and the people reviewing it are getting older. Like Danny said, he's in his late 20s. He's 28. I'm in my early 30s. I'm 33. And we grew up in a much different time. And I enjoyed his videos so much. Please watch the original video of The Point. I'll have a link below in the description. He did an amazing job. And basically what he was saying is that guys our age, basically like let's say from 25 up, it's not that we're jaded. It's that we grew up in a much different time where games were more revolutionary than evolutionary. And I'll explain what I mean. Let's say, give or take, I know this can be debated, from the 6th generation of consoles on, especially, games just got prettier. Okay, there was first-person shooters on the PlayStation 2. They got prettier on the Xbox 360, and they got even prettier on the PS4 and Xbox One. Same with the PS2, same with the GameCube. But if you grew up in let's say like you're 25 to older, and older, let's say, gaming, every time there was new hardware, and because the medium was so fresh and so new, every time either a piece of hardware was released or a lot of times, not always, the copycat thing happened back then too. A lot of times when new games were released, it blew your mind. I mean, you could even go back. I mean, I was gaming from the Atari 2600, but even before that, when you go to the prehistoric consoles like the original Magnavox Odyssey, just the fact, and I know now it sounds kind of dumb, but if you really think about it, television before consoles was just to watch shows on. You didn't control anything on the screen. Nothing was interactive. What was on TV is what you watched. And what blew people away was the fact that you could put a controller in your hand or a joystick and you could move an object on the screen. That's part of the reason why Pong blew people away. Now, Pong even to this day is a fun time killer. But back then, the reason why there were a billion Pong clones was people just couldn't. It was so mind-blowing to look at your screen, move that cursor, move that joystick, and see something, you moving the joystick, move something on the screen. That was amazing. And then there's so many examples. I'm going to get lost in my own head. Like going to Super Mario Brothers. Let's jump a little bit because I could give so many damn examples and I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. Going to the original Super Mario Brothers, yes, there were side-scrolling games before, but they were very rudimentary. And a lot of times, if you look at games like Donkey Kong Jr., and basically almost every Atari game, the only game I could think of on the Atari 2600 that went against that was Pitfall 2. They did some programming wizardry and did things with the hardware I don't even think Atari knew was possible. But most games were one screen. And when you went to the original Super Mario Brothers, as much as a side-scrolling platformer now, I know a lot of you guys who were like 15 and 16 are like, LOL, LMAO, what the fuck is he talking about? It's just, how is that revolutionary? But back in the mid-80s, when the original Super Mario Brothers came out, there was nothing else like it. There was nothing, you had scrolling back, you had scrolling, the screen was scrolling, the controls were rock solid and fluid. There was nothing like that on the market. And it was, again, amazing. It was revolutionary. It changed the gaming industry again. And another example that just sticks out in my head that really changed the way I looked at games. Now, I kind of went through ups and downs with gaming. I would be obsessed with gaming for a couple of years, and then I wouldn't touch a controller for a couple of years. And I was in one of those lulls where I wasn't into gaming, and it was 1996. And I was with a friend and we were walking into Lechmere. It was a department store. It's now defunct. Some of you may remember it if you're my age. And they had a demo of Nintendo 64. And the game they were demoing was Super Mario 64. Now, I understand it wasn't the first 3D game, but it was the first 3D game that gave you full control. And when you picked up that controller and played Super Mario 64 for the first time, there was nothing else like it. Again, revolutionary. Nothing else you played before felt like Super Mario 64, and it changed everything again. It blew your mind. And when you were my age and you grew up gaming at the time that I grew up, you almost came to expect to be blown away each time there was new hardware, or each time Nintendo released a new game, or even like when the PlayStation came. I remember, let's go back a little bit. Well, I had a Sega CD, and yes, the Sega CD had a lot of shitty games, but I just remember I got Night Trap for Christmas as a kid. And yes, that game sucked. Yes, that game was terrible, but my mind was blown simply because of the fact I was watching full motion video being pumped out of my Sega CD / Sega Genesis. And again, revolutionary. Was the Sega CD a incredible console? Some could argue yes, some could argue no. But all of these, I really almost feel bad for guys who are younger, because we grew up during an amazing time. If you're my age, like I said, between 25 and older, we grew up and if you're a gamer, we grew up in an amazing time where every time something was released, your mind was blown. Grand Theft Auto 3 was another one, and Danny mentioned this in his video. Grand Theft Auto before that was a 2.5D top scrolling or top down game, and it was cool. But when you went to Grand Theft Auto 3, now it's dated. You look back at Grand Theft Auto 3 now, and the controls needed work, and it wasn't, I don't think it's as amazing of a game as a lot of people thought it was at the time, but Grand Theft Auto 3, you were inside. Now it doesn't seem like a big deal with Grand Theft Auto 5 and other open world games out there, but you, for the first time, were truly inside a city, a living, breathing city, and you could do whatever you wanted to. You felt like your brain was going to come out of your head. Now, I wasn't in love with Grand Theft Auto 3, but it still blew me away. But now things are changing, like Danny said, and now those days of seeing revolutions almost every time a game was released or a piece of hardware was released are pretty much all but gone. Now, you went from the 360 to the Xbox One. The games are just, quote unquote, as I said before in past videos, HDer, quote unquote. Or the PS3 to PS4, they're just prettier. You're not going to, they're going to be first person shooters, but now they're just going to have better textures and better lighting. It's going to be few and far between, especially on the AAA side, more so, that you're going to see a revolutionary game come out. I'm not saying those days aren't going to happen anymore, but due, like Danny said, to the law of diminishing returns, and because we've kind of reached a plateau in hardware performance when it comes to consoles and PC, you're not going to see the same revolutions. And on top of that, something can be blamed, and I said this before in my Gamers Are Getting Burnt Out video, that the AAA companies need to pump out games that are the same to make sure they get a return back on all the research and development and hundreds of millions of dollars they put into some of these games. So beyond the fact that we've reached a plateau and you're not seeing those big jumps in hardware anymore, and because a lot of nooks and crannies in developing games, there's been a bunch of different genres released and it's tough for people to think of new ideas. New ideas are also being stifled because they're too risky and companies want to make money. So when you combine the fact that we've reached a plateau in gaming due to hardware and that companies are too scared to take risks, you're not going to see that many mind-blowing changes or mind-blowing IPs in the gaming industry anymore because, there's not too much more we could go to. Maybe Oculus Rift, even though I don't think so, and I've said that many times before, maybe Oculus Rift will be that next mind-blowing thing that comes out. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also, and I also forgot to mention this too, I think what a lot of people my age, I'm very accepting, okay? I look at games as a way to escape. They're fun. Like Wolfenstein 3D is the New Order is as cookie cutter of a first-person shooter that you could get, but I am having a blast with it, and I think it's a really well-done game. I also think a lot of people my age, and I'm looking at my friend Sean, metaphorically, he's not in front of me, as I say this, I think a lot of people my age who are gamers or were gamers, because I know a lot of them just kind of gave up the ghost on it, also feel a sense of elitism. Like my friend Sean said, and I want to rest my nutsack on his head and smack him when he says this. He's like, dude, if a game was released after the year 2000, I don't want to play it. The games now suck ass. And to me, it's like, you got to let go of the fact and a part of it is too, is that I think a lot of guys my age want to feel like they did when they were kids again. I think I've said this in a video ages ago, but the reality of it is you're an adult now, man. You're not going to get that excitement every time you play a new game. Those days are gone. I remember being a kid, and I said this in a video a long time ago, where you went to the store, you got a game, and you were so retardedly excited to bring it home. You couldn't wait. You ripped the cellophane off in the car and ran 100 miles an hour to the house to plug it into your NES. You're not going to do that at 33, Sean. Those days are gone. And I just look at games. I don't have that elitism where I think that games from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s were the best and every game after that sucks. I look at games as if they're fun. I don't care if they're on the NES. I don't care if they're on the PlayStation 4. I don't care if they're on my PC. If a game's fun, I don't care if it came out in 2014 or 1984. But a lot of people, I feel my age too, feel this, we were around for the best times and we were the best gamers and anything that comes out now sucks. And I think I see a lot of that too, and I think that's why a lot of people now are disappointed, because they feel that, they want that magic back, and it's just not going to happen, guys. If you're like 25 to my age or older, you got to let it go. You're not going to feel like you did when you were 7 and you got a video game. It's just not going to happen. So to every person who's I cringe as I say this word, you guys know I hate the word, gamer out there, you got to realize the gaming industry is huge now. There's a bunch of different gaming consumers out there that buy games. We're all different walks of life, and we're all different ages. And all of us have different tastes, and some of us are going to think something's great, and some of us are going to think something sucks. Destiny is a perfect example. If you go to Gaming Battlegrounds, which is a fantastic group on YouTube, I'll have a link below in the description, you see World War III being debated with Destiny all the time. Like Danny said again, I keep referring back to him because he made fantastic points. We're all different ages, we're all different walks of life, and we're all going to have different tastes in games. So let's stop ripping each other's heads off and realize that everyone is going to like something different. And because of our age and life experiences, what I may enjoy may not be what you enjoy, and vice versa. This is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'm signing out. Have a good one. The preceding video was brought to you by Big Cheese's YouTube channel. For gameplay reviews, gaming music, and vlogs, subscribe to Big Cheese VG. Link below in the description.